Ever said something in anger and regretted it right after? We've all been there. One moment of rage, one emotional reply, one unfiltered reaction, and boom, everything spirals. Now imagine this. What if you could press pause on your emotions just for a few seconds and choose your response instead? That's not a fantasy. That's Stoic training. In a world that constantly pokes our emotions, bad drivers, social media drama, passive-aggressive coworkers, Stoic philosophy gives us the tools to stay calm, centered, and in control. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. Train your mind to respond, not react. Because when you control your response, you control your outcome. Before we get into the core of this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. This channel is your calm in the chaos, delivering simple, powerful Stoic wisdom every week to help you live smarter, not louder. Let's start with something simple. What's the actual difference between reacting and responding? Reacting is fast. It's emotional. It comes from your gut, without thinking. You get insulted, and you insult back. Someone cuts you off in traffic and you honk or yell. Your boss criticizes you and you feel defensive or angry. Reacting is automatic. It's your survival brain, fight or flight. It's useful when you're in danger, but most of the time you're not. Now responding is different. It's slower. It's thoughtful. It means you notice your emotions, but you don't become them. You feel the anger, but you pause. You feel the urge to clap back, but you choose silence, or a better reply. You feel hurt, but instead of lashing out, you ask, what's the wise thing to do here? Reacting is about emotion. Responding is about intention. Imagine this. You're having a bad day. Your friend says something slightly annoying. If you're reacting, you snap. You regret it later. If you're responding, you take a breath. And maybe realize they didn't mean harm. One leads to regret. The other leads to respect. For yourself and others. And here's the truth. You can't control what people say or do. But you can always control how you respond. That's where Stoic philosophy comes in. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is what separates emotionally reactive people from mentally strong ones. Reacting gives power to others. Responding keeps power with you. Stoicism isn't just about being calm and collected. It's about knowing what you can control and what you can't. Let's break it down. You can control your thoughts. You can control your actions. You can control how you choose to respond to life's challenges. But here's the catch. You can't control what happens to you. You can't control other people's actions. You can't control the weather, the traffic, or how people behave online. What Stoics understood, and what we can learn today, is this. We suffer not because of external events, but because of how we react to them. Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, put it simply, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This mindset shift is powerful because it stops us from wasting energy on things beyond our control. When we focus only on our responses, we begin to reclaim our peace and strength. The dichotomy of control. Let's talk about the dichotomy of control, one of the key ideas in Stoicism. It's the simple idea that everything in life falls into two categories: things you can control, like your thoughts, actions, and emotions. Things you can't control, like other people's behavior, natural disasters, or the past. The Stoics spent their lives practicing the art of focusing only on the things they could control. They didn't waste time or energy trying to change things they had no power over. So when something bad happens, a traffic jam, a rude comment, a mistake at work, ask yourself, can I control this? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, take action and choose how you want to respond. The power of choice. The Stoics didn't believe in blindly accepting everything that happens. They believed in choosing how to respond, with wisdom, calm, and understanding. For example, imagine your boss gives you harsh feedback. Instead of reacting with frustration, you can choose to respond with curiosity and a willingness to improve. That's where true control lies, in your choice of response. So the next time life throws a curveball at you, remember, you can't control what happens, but you can control how you react. This doesn't mean ignoring your emotions. It means acknowledging them but not letting them control you. One of the most powerful tools in the Stoic mindset is something so simple, yet so often overlooked: the pause. Think about it. How often do you react to situations instantly, without thinking? Maybe someone cuts you off in traffic and you instantly start honking. Or maybe you get an angry message and you start typing a fiery response before taking a breath. But what if, instead of jumping straight into your emotional reaction, you just paused? In that pause, that tiny moment between stimulus and response, you have the power to choose. You don't have to give in to the immediate impulse. You can take a step back, breathe, and think about how to respond in a way that aligns with your values, not your emotions. Viktor Frankl's insight. One of the most profound thoughts on this pause comes from Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, who said, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Frankl's words are a perfect match for Stoicism. The pause isn't just about being calm. It's about taking control of the situation instead of letting it control you. When you feel your emotions bubbling up, whether it's anger, frustration, or even fear, the pause allows you to slow down and make a conscious choice. It's like pressing the brakes before you crash into a situation you'll regret later. Why the pause works. The pause works because, in that moment, your brain shifts from a reactionary state, where you're driven by emotions, to a deliberate, thoughtful state. By creating space between stimulus and response, you're giving yourself time to calm down. You're letting your emotions settle before they take over. Gain perspective. You can look at the situation from a broader point of view, instead of just focusing on your immediate feelings. Choose wisely. You can decide on the response that best serves you and the situation. This is how Stoics mastered their emotions, not by denying them, but by choosing how to react, even in the most challenging moments. A simple practice: breathe. And count. One of the easiest ways to build this pause into your daily life is through something as simple as breathing. Here's a quick exercise. Whenever you feel triggered, pause. Take a deep breath, count to 3, and in that space, ask yourself, what can I control here? What's the wise response? What would a Stoic do? This simple act of pausing, breathing, and reflecting will gradually build a habit of responding rather than reacting. The power of the pause is one of the most valuable tools you'll find in Stoic philosophy. It gives you the ability to step back, detach from your emotions, and choose your response with wisdom. So how do we actually train our minds to respond, not react? The good news is, Stoics gave us some powerful tools to make this shift a reality. These tools don't require fancy equipment or years of study, just consistency and effort. Let's Look at some daily practices that will help you build a mind that responds thoughtfully, not impulsively. Journaling. One of the key practices of Stoic philosophers was journaling. It's a way to reflect on your day, process your emotions, and realign yourself with your values. Every night, Marcus Aurelius would write in his journal. He didn't just write about his day. He reflected on his reactions, his thoughts, and his actions. He asked himself what he could have done better. How does this help in training your mind to respond? Journaling gives you the opportunity to slow down and reflect. Instead of letting your emotions control you in the moment, journaling helps you pause and see patterns in your reactions. Over time, you'll start to notice your triggers and learn how to respond more effectively. Negative visualization, premeditatio malorum. This might sound strange, but Stoics practiced negative visualization, a technique where they imagined the worst-case scenarios in their lives. For example, what would happen if you lost your job, faced a major health crisis, or lost a loved one? Why would you want to imagine the worst? Because it teaches you to face fear head-on and prepare for life's inevitable challenges. Instead of panicking when something goes wrong, you become more resilient because you've already considered the possibilities. Negative visualization helps you to respond calmly because you've already mentally prepared for the worst. You realize that whatever happens, you can handle it. Mindful breathing. One of the simplest ways to train your mind is through mindful breathing. When you feel your emotions rising, anger, stress, anxiety, stop and take deep, slow breaths. Breathing deeply and slowly helps calm your nervous system and gives you a moment to pause. This can make a world of difference in your ability to respond thoughtfully. A great Stoic practice here is the 4-7-8 technique. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, exhale for 8 seconds. Do this a few times, and you'll feel your mind clear. The emotional storm that might have been triggering a reaction will begin to settle. The morning reflection. A great way to start the day is with a morning reflection. Before you get out of bed, take a few minutes to think about the day ahead. Ask yourself, what challenges might I face today? What situations could test my patience? How will I respond to these challenges with wisdom? This practice sets the tone for your day, reminding you that you're in control of your reactions. It's like mentally preparing for a race. You're setting yourself up for success before the starting gun goes off. Focusing on what you can control. Finally, one of the core Stoic practices is constantly reminding yourself to focus only on what you can control. Every time something bothers you, ask, can I control this? If yes, how can I respond? If no, how can I let go? This simple habit will keep your mind focused on the things that matter, your actions, your thoughts, and your responses, and while letting go of everything else. These daily practices might seem small, but over time they can have a huge impact on your ability to train your mind. When you practice journaling, negative visualization, mindful breathing, morning reflections, and focusing on what you can control, you're not just learning to respond. You're creating a mindset that values calm, clarity, and control. Sometimes the best way to understand a philosophy is through stories. Real-life examples of people who lived by its principles. And in the case of Stoicism, we have many incredible figures who practiced what they preached and became true, masters of responding, not reacting. Let's look at a few key Stoics who lived out the very ideas we're talking about today. Marcus Aurelius. The philosopher-emperor, Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most famous Stoic, wasn't just a philosopher. He was the Roman emperor. Imagine the weight of the world on your shoulders, making life and death decisions for an empire, while also dealing with personal loss and war. Yet, Marcus Aurelius, found peace through Stoic philosophy. During his reign, he faced constant battles, plagues, and political challenges. But instead of reacting emotionally to these crises, he responded with calm and reason. His personal journals, now known as meditations, show how he used Stoic teachings to reflect on his actions and improve his responses daily. A perfect example of this is when Marcus was facing one of his toughest battles. Instead of panicking or losing his temper, he used his philosophical practice to remind himself, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He didn't let obstacles stop him. He learned to use them as opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius responded with wisdom and strength, rather than reacting with anger or fear. Epictetus, the former slave who became a teacher. Epictetus was born a slave, but he became one of the most influential Stoic philosophers in history. He knew what it meant to face hardship, and he understood deeply that his responses were the only thing he could control. One of his most famous quotes is, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Epictetus never let his circumstances dictate his happiness. Whether he was enduring physical pain or personal loss, he focused on what he could control: his thoughts, actions, and responses. He responded with patience, resilience, and acceptance. Even though Epictetus endured suffering, his philosophy was all about finding peace through control over one's mind. Instead of reacting with despair, he chose to respond with acceptance, wisdom, and inner strength. Seneca, the wealthy Stoic. Seneca was a wealthy Roman statesman, but his life wasn't without its challenges. He dealt with political enemies, personal struggles, and a life filled with luxury that sometimes made him question true happiness. Despite his wealth and status, Seneca chose to live a simple life, practicing Stoic virtues every day. One of his most famous teachings was, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Seneca practiced what he called rational living, where he focused on being present, controlling his emotions, and responding wisely to every situation. Even when his wealth and power were under threat, he responded with calmness and dignity, never losing his sense of inner peace. The Stoic slave girl. A lesser-known story is that of a slave girl in ancient Rome who, despite being treated poorly, responded with kindness and dignity. One day her master, who was a wealthy merchant, insulted her in front of a crowd. Most people would have reacted angrily, perhaps even with tears or a sharp retort. But the slave girl, practicing Stoic principles, simply responded with quiet grace. She calmly said, "I know you may think this is the best way to treat me, but my worth is not determined by how you treat me. My response is my own, and I choose to remain at peace." Her master was taken aback, and the crowd was impressed. She embodied the Stoic ideal of controlling one's reactions, even in the face of harsh treatment. The Stoic lesson: how they responded, not reacted. These stories remind us that no matter our circumstances, we always have the ability to choose our responses. The Stoics faced challenges, some of them far greater than what most of us will ever experience. But they mastered the art of responding, not reacting. Through Marcus's calm leadership, Epictetus's resilience, Seneca's wisdom, and the slave girl's grace, we see that Stoicism isn't just a philosophy for philosophers. It's a practical way of life that anyone can adopt. So how can you be like these great Stoics? Start with your own responses. The next time something challenges you, remember, you have the power to choose your response, just like these Stoic masters did. Why you should start today? You might be thinking, this all sounds great, but can I really change the way I respond to everything in my life? The short answer is yes, but the key is to start today. Here's why waiting or putting it off won't work. You're losing peace by reacting. Every time you react emotionally to a situation, you're giving away your peace. Think about it. How many times have you gotten angry, stressed, or upset over something that, in the grand scheme of things, didn't matter? By reacting to things beyond your control, you're letting them take away your calm. The more you practice reacting, the more it becomes a habit, and eventually, you're stuck in a cycle of stress, frustration, and regret. On the other hand, when you respond thoughtfully, you regain control. You don't let the world dictate how you feel. Instead, you're the one who decides. Your reactions shape your life. The way you respond to life's challenges will shape your entire experience. It's not about the events themselves. It's about how you handle them. Responding with wisdom and control opens up a life of greater peace, clarity, and success. Let's say you face a setback at work. If you react with anger or frustration, you're not solving the problem. But if you pause, breathe, and respond thoughtfully, you can learn from the experience and move forward. Every small response you make builds your character. Over time, those choices become who you are. You can start small, and you don't need perfection. You don't need to be perfect at this. You just need to start. Remember, Stoicism isn't about being flawless. It's about making progress, learning from your mistakes, and improving over time. Begin with small steps. Start by practicing mindful breathing when you feel triggered. Try journaling for a few minutes each day. Focus on controlling your reactions to small annoyances before you take on the bigger challenges. These small efforts add up. Over time, they'll create a huge shift in how you handle everything from traffic jams to stressful situations at work. You deserve inner peace. One of the biggest reasons to start today is because you deserve inner peace. We all do. Life is hard enough without giving away your calm over things you can't control. By training your mind to respond instead of react, you create space for more joy, less stress, and greater clarity. You take back control of your life. And here's the thing. It's not just about feeling good. When you respond wisely, you're also more effective in everything you do. You make better decisions, maintain better relationships, and handle challenges with grace. The power of consistency. The power of Stoic practices isn't in the occasional grand gesture. It's in the small, consistent efforts you make every day. When you practice pausing, breathing, and reflecting every single day, those habits become second nature. Soon, responding thoughtfully will feel like your default mode. Your reactions won't be based on fear, frustration, or anger, but on calm, wisdom, and control. Start today, one step at a time. The Stoics didn't believe in waiting for the perfect moment. They believed that every day was the perfect moment to practice. Every situation, every challenge, and every setback is an opportunity to train your mind. So start today. Choose one small practice and commit to it. Whether it's journaling for 5 minutes, practicing mindful breathing, or just pausing before responding to a stressful situation, take that first step. Your future self will thank you. Final thoughts. Remember, you have the power to respond, not react. You control your thoughts, actions, and emotions, and every choice you make shapes the life you live. It's time to stop letting life happen to you. It's time to take control. Start today and train your mind to respond, not react.